I'm going to call to order this Monday, June 15th, 2026 meeting of the City of Madison Plan Commission. We have joining us, at least for the first part of our meeting tonight, we have two interpreters. And I think I would just start by having them introduce themselves, and we'll pause during this part of the meeting so that they can interpret for registrants who have requested that. Julio, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep.
And then Adriana?
Yep. Hi, my name is Julio, and I'm going to be the interpreter to interpret from Spanish to English. I don't think simultaneous interpretation will be used during the meeting. So just if the meeting is discussed, the item is discussed, just try to give us some time, 2-3 sentences, and give us a space to interpret, and just keep going on like that. Adriana?
Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening. My name is Adriana. I'm going to be your second interpreter. Thank you very much for having us tonight.
And
Thank you. Welcome.
Julio and Adriana, do you want to provide any Spanish instructions right now?
Okay. So, para las personas que están asistiendo a esta reunión del lunes 15 de junio de la Comisión de Planeación de la Ciudad, tenemos la disponibilidad de interpretación consecutiva del español al inglés y del inglés al español para cuando ustedes quieran participar.
Thank you. We'll start the meeting with, we'll call roll of the Plan Commission. Director Tuttle, when you're ready.
Okay. Tonight, Alder Field is excused. Alder Figueroa Cole.
Here.
Alder Uguer.
Here.
Commissioner Bazin.
Here.
Commissioner Heck.
Here.
Commissioner McCahill.
Here.
Commissioner Sanders.
Here.
Commissioner Solheim.
Here.
Commissioner Wisniewski.
Present.
And School District Rep Chiak.
Here.
And Chair Ganahan.
Here. Thank you.
So for our interpreters, all but one of our members of the commission are present tonight.
En el día de hoy se llamó a la lista de los participantes de la comisión. Todos los participantes de la Comisión de Planeación de la Ciudad se encuentran presentes en esta reunión, excepto uno que ha sido excusado.
Thank you. We will also start our meeting with information from our technical facilitator, Jesse Poole.
Welcome to
Jesse, if you could also pause a couple times during your statement, that would help. Yeah.
El señor Jesse Poole, él es el comisionado de los asuntos técnicos. Él va a hacer una breve presentación de los aspectos técnicos de esta reunión.
Welcome to our virtual Plan Commission meeting. If you lose a connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email.
Buenas tardes. Hoy tenemos una reunión virtual de la Comisión de Planeación de la Ciudad de Madison. Si usted se desconecta o pierde conexión con la reunión, usted puede lograr conseguir conexión de nuevo volviendo a hacer clic en el enlace de Zoom, o si tiene dificultad llamando al teléfono original que salió en la invitación de Zoom.
Members, if you're able, please activate your video and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking.
Por favor, los miembros de la comisión dejen su video activado durante toda la reunión. El personal de la comisión y otros individuos, por favor, prenda su cámara de video cuando quiera participar.
Panelists, use the raise hand feature when you'd like to be recognized to speak or ask questions. Lowering your hand will take you out of the queue.
Los panelistas que quieran participar, por favor, usen el icono de la mano levantada. Levanten la mano para cuando quieran participar. Si hay varias personas que quieren participar, ustedes entrarán a la línea de espera para poder participar.
Members of the public who have registered to speak, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. The clerk will tell you when your time is up. After speaking, a member of the body may ask you a question.
Para los participantes que se registraron para hablar o comentar, su nombre que usted use tiene que coincidir exactamente con el nombre con el cual se registró para participar en esta reunión. Cuando sea el momento de participar, el secretario de la reunión va a llamar su nombre y usted va a empezar a participar. Puede que durante su participación o después de su participación los miembros de la comisión le hagan preguntas. Usted contesta las preguntas y el secretario de la reunión también le va a decir cuándo debe parar de hablar.
If you need to share documentation with the commission, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda.
Si usted necesita compartir documentación con los miembros de la comisión como parte de su participación, se dio un correo electrónico al cual usted debe o puede mandar esta documentación.
Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Our first agenda item is time for public comment for items not on the formal agenda. That is an item for which we may have registrants. Director Tuttle, do we have registrants tonight?
Chair and interpreters, you can report that there are no members wishing to speak on items not on the agenda tonight.
No hay ningún miembro de la comisión que quiera participar en los asuntos a discutir que no están registrados en la agenda oficial de la reunión.
Thank you. So we will move to disclosures and recusals. Members of the Plan Commission should make any required disclosures or recusals under the city's ethics code at this time.
En este momento vamos a llamar a los miembros de la comisión que deseen dar alguna declaración pertinente a los asuntos que se van a discutir hoy, información pertinente y que se quieran que se quieran extraer de su opinión o de su voto por algún tipo de razón en el día de hoy. Esto hay que manifestarlo con antelación antes de empezar la reunión.
Thank you. I don't see any hands for disclosures and recusals. So we will take up the minutes next. We've been provided draft minutes for our June 1st, 2026 regular meeting. Does anyone have additions or corrections to the draft minutes?
En este momento vamos a empezar a discutir las minutas de nuestra pasada reunión, junio 1 del 2026. ¿Hay algún miembro de la comisión, miembro del personal que quiera hacer correcciones o ajustes a estas minutas?
Right. Seeing no hands, could I ask for a motion and a second for last month's minutes? Alder Uguer, thank you for the motion. Commissioner Wisniewski, thank you for the second.
En proceso formal, las minutas de la reunión pasada han sido aprobadas por la comisión, por moción inicial y moción secundada.
Any discussions on the minutes?
Discusión de las minutas.
Commissioner Bazin.
I wasn't here last week, so I just want to abstain from the vote.
Understood. Yep.
Esta comisionada se va a abstener de votar en cuanto a la precisión de las minutas de la pasada reunión porque ella no asistió.
Thank you. Is there any, with Commissioner Bazin abstaining, is there any other objection to unanimous approval for the June 1st minutes?
¿Alguien tiene alguna otra objeción para la aprobación de las minutas de julio 1º?
Right. Seeing none, the minutes are passed for our last meeting. We now have just a reminder for our upcoming schedule of meetings. Our next regular meeting after tonight is June 29th. And then in July, we have meetings on July 13th and July 27th at 5:30 p.m. And those are virtual meetings.
Quiero, pasando las minutas de la reunión pasada, quiero pasar a recordar cuáles son las próximas reuniones de esta comisión. Tenemos reunión junio 29, la última reunión del mes de junio, y tenemos reuniones en julio 13, 27 a las 5:30 y 27 a las 5:30 de la tarde, son virtuales como esta.
Thank you. Right, we will now take up our consent agenda.
Ahora vamos a empezar a trabajar en la agenda que fue acordada para la reunión del día de hoy.
It has been the custom of the Plan Commission to handle on consent agenda items on which staff members believe an application has been sufficiently reviewed to find the relevant standards met to support approval with all of the listed conditions placed upon it by the various city departments, and where the applicant accepts all those conditions and there are no individuals who've registered to speak in opposition to the item.
Se ponen de acuerdo los miembros de la comisión en una agenda cuando los asuntos de la agenda, como que están aprobados en el día de hoy, asuntos 2, 10, 11, 12 y 13, tienen suficiente documentación y suficiente respaldo para haber sido revisados y aprobados para discusión. Cuando esto no se ha cumplido, la comisión prefiere diferir otros asuntos a próximas reuniones.
You'll see before you the proposed items for consent on tonight's agenda, and those items are item 2, item 10, 11, 12, and 13. And then we will have a second vote for item 14 to be referred to a future meeting date to be determined. And item 14, as you know, does not require a public hearing. The other items will have a public hearing.
Ya hablamos de los asuntos que se van a discutir en la agenda con la cual se estuvo de acuerdo, 2, 10, 11, 12, 13. Estos asuntos necesitan un debate público que se va a hacer hoy en nuestra reunión, y ya el asunto número 14, como no necesita debate público, se va a mandar a una fecha diferida.
Thank you. Of the items proposed for consent, are there any requests for separation from any commissioners?
De todos estos asuntos, ¿hay algún comisionado que quiera separar alguno de estos asuntos, 2, 10, 11, 12 o 13, para discutir en otra fecha o para discutir separadamente?
So I'll just make a quick note for the interpreters. The Plan Commission Chair is required now to read the full agenda text for all of the items that are on this list, which will take quite a bit of time. I don't think it's required for you to interpret all of that she will read, but we'll confirm at the end that it does include approval of item 10. If that's okay.
Okay.
Very good. So I will read into the record our consent items for approval. Item 2 has Legistar number 93390. And this item is determining a public purpose and necessity and adopting a relocation order for the acquisition of land interest required for construction, maintenance, and use of a public easement for sanitary sewer water utility, and storm sewer south of MacArthur Road and associated temporary limited easements for reconstruction of the public road located in part of the northeast quarter of the southwest quarter of section 33 T8N R10E in Alder District 3. Then we have item 10, which is a development related request. This is Legistar 93083 relating to 4633 Verona Road in Alder District 10. This is consideration of a conditional use in the Commercial Center CC District to allow freestanding vending, food truck in the parking lot of a multi-tenant commercial building. Yes. Oh, please go ahead, Adriana.
El asunto número 10, que es pertinente a interpretación, tiene que ver con la discusión de la posibilidad de obtener una licencia para que haya un camioncito vendedor de alimentos que quiere parquearse y hacer su negocio en un parqueadero de un área mixta residencial y comercial en el 4633 de la Verona Road, que pertenece al distrito 10. Y lo que estamos considerando es el uso condicional de este centro comercial para que exista la posibilidad de el camión de venta de alimentos.
Item 11 is Legistar 92844, and this is reapproving the preliminary plat of Hurling Property Subdivision on property generally addressed as 401 and 404 North Sugar Maple Lane and 402 Tawny Elm Parkway in Alder District 9. Then we have items 12 and 13. Item 12 is Legistar 93125, creating section 28.022-00754 of the Madison General Ordinances to change the zoning of property located at 1151 Jennifer Street from TRC4, Traditional Residential Consistent 4 District, to TRC3, Traditional Residential Consistent 3 District in Alder District 6. And then item 13 is Legistar 92843, and that is approving a certified survey map of property owned by Glab Investments, LLC, located at 1151 Jennifer Street, 3rd Lake Ridge Historic District in Alder District 6. For these 5 items on the approval agenda, I will open the public hearing and close the public hearing, and we'll move to a vote. Is there a motion and a second from the commission to approve the consent agenda? Alder Uguer, thank you. Commissioner Wisniewski, thank you. Is there any objection to unanimous approval for this consent agenda? Seeing no objection, the consent agenda is passed.
Okay, so I'll let Julio know the consent agenda has been approved, including the approval of item 10, which is the conditional use for 4633 Verona Road.
Sí, simplemente para informarle que el asunto número 10 ha sido aprobado junto con toda la agenda de asuntos en este primer momento, así que se ha aprobado el uso condicional que se solicitaba para la dirección en Verona Road.
Thank you. All right, we will, right, we'll move to our consent agenda for referral, and that is just for item 14, which is Legistar 91511 relating to 2010 through 2030 Pennsylvania Avenue and 1902 East Johnson Street, Urban Design District 4 and Alder District 12. And this is consideration of a conditional use in the regional mixed use RMX district and transit-oriented development TOD overlay district for outdoor recreation, a pool to serve a 7-story, 493-unit multifamily dwelling. And this referral is to an undetermined future date to allow additional work to be done on the project. Alder Figueroa Cole. Yes, are you, thank you for the motion.
Oh,
Commissioner, or is that a motion to go for?
Sure.
Go ahead.
sure,
Okay.
but I just wanted to mention, can we get the consent agenda off the screen? Thank you. Yeah, and then I move to approve. Thank
To refer. Yep, thanks. And then, all right, so we have a motion from Alder Figueroa Cole, a second from Commissioner Wisniewski. Darren, unless you raise your hand for a different purpose, which is also okay. All right. So we have a motion and a second to refer item 14. Is there any objection to unanimous approval for the referral? All right, seeing none, item 14 is referred.
Okay, so here I'm just going to interject for Julio and note that we can thank Mary for attending the meeting this evening. Her item has been approved. Thank you to Adriana and Julio for being here to support interpretation. At this time, we're going to end interpretation and the Plan Commission will finish the rest of their agenda.
Sí, Mary, únicamente para informarle que su asunto ha sido aprobado por la comisión, así que en este momento usted puede retirarse y se terminará con la interpretación para esta reunión de la comisión.
Thank you. Thanks very much. All right, we will go back to the remaining items on our agenda. Items 3 through 9 all relate to amendments to project plans for tax incremental districts. And we have one staff presentation on these items. Megan, would it be okay if I read the items as we get ready to vote on them as opposed to now? Or should I?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's have Dan present, and then because we need to take individual votes, we can read the items then.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. And we are welcoming Dan Rolfs, whose title I should know, but maybe Dan, you can tell us your title.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
We can, thanks.
Very good. My name is Dan Rolfs. I am the Real Estate Development Manager at the City in the Office of Real Estate Services in the Economic Development Division. Been with the City for going on 21, almost. Happy to make a presentation if that is the will of the body.
Yes, welcome.
Very good.
Are you able to share? Do you need help with that?
Let's find out. It looks like I can share. Here we go. All right. If you can just let me know when you can see my screen. My computer's being a little slow tonight. There we go.
I still can't quite see it. Can others see it? It's cooking?
It's
Okay.
thinking about sharing.
All right.
My computer has some sharing issues. It's got some kindergarten work to do.
There we go.
If it would be helpful to have one of the staff here share, Dan, is the version you want to present the one that's online?
Yes, it should be. There's one attached, I believe, to each one, but if you pull up the one for TID 44, that will work as well.
And would you be willing to share that version?
Yep.
Just to help things move along?
I don't.
Yeah, I just
My
need
apologies for the
quick
delay.
second to pull it up.
While that's happening, Dan, I just want to confirm you're still there. We just lost your video for a second.
I'm still here. Can you hear me okay?
Great. Yep.
Yeah, my apologies. I'm not sure what is going on with my bandwidth here. So Tim, once you've got it pulled up, we can mosey along and get through.
Dan, maybe while we're pulling that up, can you give the commission an overview on what their role is tonight in these items?
Certainly. So, thank you, Tim. So the TID creation and amendment process, which this is part of tonight, is a statutory process laid out in state of Wisconsin TIF law. There are a couple things that the Plan Commission has input and purview over, and those are, number one, that the project plan amendment or creation for each of these districts is in conformance to and consistent with comprehensive plan of the city of Madison, that not less than 50% by area, not by parcel, but by area, of the property in each of the parcels in each TID is suitable and zoned for industrial use or mixed use as applicable. Some TIDs we have are mixed use, some TIDs are blighted, or are mixed use or industrial, beg your pardon. Or that 50% of that area is blighted as determined by this meanings under state of Wisconsin TIF law 661105 sub 2. Third thing, that the improvement of the area in the TID is likely to significantly enhance the value of substantially all the other real property in the TID. And finally, that the aggregate value of equalized taxable property in the district plus existing districts does not exceed 12% of the total equalized assessed taxable property value within the city of Madison. So hopefully that explains what's going on here.
And in this
Can everyone
case,
still hear me okay?
yep, Dan, we can hear you. And in this case,
Okay.
the Plan Commission will be asked to make individual votes on each of these items as a recommendation to the council as the council considers either amending or adopting these plans. So go ahead. Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thank you. Tim, we can go to the next slide. Thank you. So this is what we just covered, talking about the Plan Commission's role here. The next slide, if we can go with that, we're going to get right into it, is talking about TID 44. So this is Tax Increment District 44, Royster Clark. This is on the east side of Madison between Atwood Avenue on the left-hand side of your screen, going down Cottage Grove Road, underneath Stoughton Road, over to Flora Lane, covering over to Acewood. Next slide here talks about the actual changes that are coming forward in the TID itself for this project plan amendment. There are 3 items coming forward as part of this amendment. The first is funding for the land acquisition at Royster Corners. You can see the properties that are being proposed for funding from the TID for acquisition in gray. There's additional funding for the Cottage Grove Road stormwater retention pond. This is part of a City of Madison just infrastructure work that we do quite a bit of in our TIF districts. And then finally, there's some funding set aside for small business assistance in and around TID 44 both in the district and within a half mile of the district. The total change in 2026 is $6.5 million. And the total TIF funded project cost, including this amendment, is $15.3 million. So the next slide talks about just a brief summary. This district is projected to close in 2029. This assumes that there are no additional project plan amendments, economic changes, or changes to TIF law. And staff estimate that the estimated incremental value or new value at the closure of the TID will be $114 million. That's a quick overview of TID 44. Moving right along, we're going to jump to TID 46. So you can see TID 46 here. This covers by area probably the largest portion of any of our districts. Covers the University Research Park. You can see kind of in the middle there, Mineral Point Road and Whitney Way, all the way down to Rayovac and Exact Sciences, all the way west, almost to the intersection of Mineral Point Road and the Beltline, and then all the way northeast, almost up to University Avenue. So TID 46 has a couple costs coming in this year on the next slide. And those are a bunch of infrastructure costs. So we've got the improvements to Yellowstone Drive sanitary sewer. improvements for a to-be located Westtown area park. So these are the improvements, not the acquisition, just the improvements to a park that would be identified at a future date. We've got some improvements set aside for Research Park stormwater, along with improvements to Science Drive. And then last but not least, additional funding for small business assistance. These small business programs in and around this area have seen quite a bit of demand. So we are adding more dollars to it. So these dollars again would be expended both within TID 46 and within a half mile. The total dollars for this amendment is $6.4 million, with the total TIF funded project cost at $60.1 million. Just a note here, this TID has done a lot of workmanlike investment. Primary among those is a substantial investment into the city's bus rapid transit system, the east-west route. This was probably the foundational investment from our perspective in that route. Moving right along then, just a brief summary. This TID is estimated to close in 2028, assuming all the usual caveats. And at closure, we estimate the incremental value or new value to be around $540 million. So not our biggest TID, but definitely one of the biggest ones that I have worked on. So that's TID 46. Moving right along, we are on to TID 50. This is our downtown State and Lake TIF district. This is a very small amendment here. The only item on the next slide is funding for the Dayton Street sanitary improvements, $285,000. The total total project costs in this TID are $26.7 million. The vast majority of those funds went to the State Street parking garage, but we've made some other physical investments as well. So what we estimate on the next slide is for closure is in 2029. But again, this assumes all of those caveats as far as macroeconomic changes to TIF law, and additional amendments. If the TID closes in 29, we estimate the value to be $342 million of new or incremental value. I suspect that we will see another amendment or two to this district, but this is what we know today. Moving right along, we are moving on to TID 51. This is the South Madison TID. It covers a large portion of South Madison from Alliant Energy Center and John Nolan all the way over to Fish Hatchery, following roughly Winger Creek, down to the Beltline and back over to John Nolan. So there are some amendments here that we can talk about, but what's really happening at the end of the day is we're moving money from one category to another. So you'll see all of those negative numbers, negative 9 million, 6 million, 5 million, 5 million. All of those are categories that were previously approved. They are being either reduced in some cases, or they're being modified and down to zero, and we are putting those dollars into a new category called housing development in the South Park Street area. Tim, can we go to the next slide? Thank you. There we go. So really what's happening here again is this is a internal accounting item. So the total change to this district is zero. We're not making any new dollars. We're not spending anything new. We're just reallocating funds to support additional housing development in the South Park Street corridor. So the total TID funded project costs are still $99.4 million. Bear in mind that that number is that large in large part because TIDs 36 and 37. So TID 36 is in the Capitol East Gateway along East Washington, and TID 37 is out by Union Corners. Those two districts did very well and were able to donate around $66 million of excess revenue into the South Madison area after the dissolution of the town of Madison. So we've made some significant investments and will continue to do so in the South Madison area. So moving to the next slide here, the summary. Here we project this TID to close in 2037, again with the usual caveats. And if it does close at that point, we estimate the incremental or new value to be $290 million. Everyone's still sticking with me? It's exciting stuff. One of my favorite things to talk about is tax increment finance. So let's go to the next slide on TID 54. This is the short version of this presentation. I had another one with some song and dance, but I was asked to cut it down. So TID 54 covers from all the way at the intersection of Pennsylvania Avenue and Johnson Street and First Street, all the way north up to just past the former Oscar Mayer facility and Aberg Avenue 30 over to roughly Fordham and Sherman Avenue. So the big item here is this recently came to the Finance Committee and Council. On the next page is a development loan for Rialta Fusion Jobs TIF of $2.8 million. We don't do a lot of Jobs TIF loans, but this one is another one that we've brought along, hopefully creating some new value, reinvigorating the former Oscar Mayer facility, and bringing some great jobs into the city, and hopefully solving some energy problems with math and physics that are way beyond myself. But that's the only project that's being added to this project, or to this TID right now, and the total TID funded project cost will be $21.7 million. The next slide details what we estimate for closure. We estimate it'll be around 2034. Now, I suspect there will probably be additional amendments to this district, but based on what we know today, this is what we've got. Assuming it closes in 2034, we estimate the incremental value at that time will be $215 million. Moving right along to two of our new districts. So these are districts that are proposed for new creation this year. This is TID 56, covering the Grand Teton area. If you put this overlay with TID 46, it sort of sits right in the middle of what is out there for TID 46. So this is a brand new district, and the next slide covers what we intend to spend money on. So it talks about, Tim, can we go to the next slide? There we go. Thank you. We have about $10 million set aside for infrastructure work in the Mineral Point Road, Grand Canyon Drive, Grand Teton, Yellowstone, Odana area. We've got money set aside for park improvements, money set aside for development loans. This is specifically for the project at Grand Teton. It's an affordable housing project that'll create, I think, 290 units of new affordable housing. We have $2 million set aside for small business assistance, and then dollars set aside for administrative and professional costs. So staff time, audits, things like that. The total cost of this project as a newly adopted TID is estimated to be around $17 million. Assuming no changes, showing on our next slide, we project this district to close in 2045. I would wager there will be additional amendments, but we'll see. Assuming that occurs, we estimate the value at closure to be $104 million. And then finally, our last district here is TID 57. So this is the Medical Circle TID covering a small area between Tokay Boulevard, Whitney Way, the Beltline, and kind of the extension of Tokay Boulevard down to the south. So again, this is a new district. The next slide, if we can go to that, covers the cost. So again, some public works for infrastructure, Whitney Way, Odana, Tokay, and Medical Circle. A loan for a affordable housing project at Odana Road and Medical Circle. Another set aside for small business assistance, both within the district and within a half mile. And then funding set aside for administrative and professional costs. Total funded here is $13 million. Assuming nothing changes, we can go to the next slide. We project this district to close in 2045. I would wager there will be additional amendments, but we'll see. Assuming it closes in 2045, we estimate the incremental or new value at closure to be $87 million. That is everything I have for this. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have on this. And thank you, Tim, for your assistance.
And just a question for my understanding that are we the 12% number, that's the total TIF cost divided by the then divided by the expected total cost at closure? Is that how we find that 12%? I mean, and then it's citywide, right?
So the 12% test is the value of all of the districts in the city measured against the entire value of all of the property in the city. So right now, our 12% test before we do any of these creations or anything else, I think is at about 4.5%. I'm trying to find that number as we speak. My computer is being extremely helpful. We have never gotten anywhere close to 12%. I think right now is probably the highest we've ever been. And what that really is a function of is two of our districts, TID 46 and TID 36, combined between them have about 1.1 billion with a B dollars of new value sitting in them. So within the next 3 years, 3 years or so, both of those districts will be headed for closure, and that value will go back onto the tax rolls for the city, the county, the technical college, and the school district, our overlying taxing jurisdiction partners. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you. My question was really, are we close? Do we need to do those calculations ourselves? And it sounds like we're very comfortably under the bar. Questions? Yeah, go ahead.
We are. We measure it every time.
I think
all the time.
Does anyone have any questions about the general presentation that would be good to ask Dan at this point, or should we launch into Alder Figueroa Cole? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dan, for the presentation. If people want to learn more about TIF, can you point them to the city page that has the TIF policy and all the different TIF districts and maps and data, please?
Certainly, yeah. They can email me at their discretion. It's under our Economic Development Division page, and there is a TIF icon that folks can find that points them towards our policies, our existing districts. It shows a map of all of the investments that we've made into specific projects over time, and I believe even has my contact information. So if they want to have the extended version of that presentation, about 2 hours or so, we can go that route as well.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Alder Yeager.
Thank you, Chair. Two questions, I think. One is, do you have a number, average size of the small business support TID loans that we've been doing or expect to do?
The size of the loans and investments really vary. So some of our small business programs, and to be very fair, my colleagues in the Office of Business Resources would have the most information about these. They manage these programs and work with folks who are applying for them. I believe the range of dollars that some of them are grants for things like building. We have the Building Improvement Grant Program. We have the Facade Improvement Grant Program, and those range, I want to say, from the low tens of thousands of dollars to, I think, 50 or 60,000, up to programs like the Small Cap TIF program that will invest into machinery and equipment. Those tend to be in the low six figures, along with our Commercial Ownership Assistance Program that helps small business owners buy the building within which their business lies. So it's a range of programs. Some of them are loans, some of them are grants, but they're all aimed at investing in small businesses in the community and keeping the dollars that we generate as tax increments here in Madison, investing back into the folks that have made their business in Madison to create more jobs and more value.
And my other question is, the two new TIDs fit in the holes that aren't currently occupied by TID 46. The amendment for 46, I believe, includes some amount, maybe $3 million, I think, for park improvements, and then there's another $1.5 million in one of the new TIDs. Can these be used together? You know, if we found an ideal piece of property for a park, or do they need to be separate?
I think it would be whatever is most advantageous for the city. So if it's something that we want to use in one spot, that's okay. If we separate them out, that's okay too.
No further questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Heck?
Thank you. Somewhat related question, Dan. Have you run into the situation where a project is within the half-mile rule area in two different TIDs? And if not, what would you do? Is the answer the same? Whatever's most advantageous to the city, is that there's no real policy about how to handle that?
When you say a project, just so I understand the question, are you talking about a physical infrastructure investment, or are you talking
in the
about
half-mile rule?
Okay.
So let's say an affordable housing project.
Sure. Well, so those are two different things. So if it's an investment into infrastructure, so stormwater, streets, sanitary, parks, those kinds of things, that is really what's going to be most advantageous to the city, looking at the health of both of those districts, their capacity to generate incremental revenue, how much time they have left, all of those things. So we factor all of those things in and as we manage the TID itself and the overall portfolio of tax increment districts that we manage. When it comes to a project where we are investing public dollars into a private project, so like the two that I referenced with the TID 56 and 57, so the project at Grand Teton and the project at Medical Circle, those are evaluated on their own. And sometimes we will amend a district depending upon how far away it is from that district's boundaries. And sometimes we will need to create a new district. So in the case of both 56 and 57, it was more advantageous to create a new tax increment district because TID 56 has been open long enough that it doesn't have a lot of life left. And what that means is brass tacks, when you want to make an investment, there's less time for it to recover those invested dollars, which means there's less money that we can put into the project. So we are going to, or we're proposing to create two new TIDs that will address both of those projects and allow us to continue to invest in these areas. That answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it is true that you're looking at all angles to do what's most advantageous and smartest for the city. So I appreciate it. Thanks.
We try to. No one hired me for my good looks and charm. So hopefully it's for my knowledge of what we're doing here.
Commissioner Solheim.
Thank you. Just quick question. The termination dates that you projected on the slides, I presume that those don't include a 1 or 2 year extension for affordable housing?
That is correct. That would, so once we, thank you. That's actually a very good question. Thank you. So when we project those termination dates, they are based upon the repayment of all outstanding debt. However, once we set that that the TID is closing, and we're going to sort of use that extra year or 2 years for affordable housing. From there, we can't make any new changes to that TID project plan. So while we're still collecting revenue, we can't do anything else new. So if someone came back and said, "Oh, we want to do a stormwater project or whatever," that door's closed. So it's not closed in so many words because we're still collecting incremental revenue for those for the Affordable Housing Fund, but we cannot make new other investments into private projects or a public project. Does that answer your question? Okay.
All right. Thanks for the overview and the general questions. We'll now proceed to take up each of the items in order. We'll start with item 3, which is Legistar 93406, approving the amendment to the project plan for tax incremental district TID number 44, Royster Clark, City of Madison, which is partially in Alder District 3 and partially in Alder District 15. I will open the public hearing on this item, and Director Tuttle, if you'll confirm whether we have registrants.
There are no registrants for this item, Chair.
Great. So absent registrants, I'll close the public hearing and ask if there are any questions for city staff, particular to TID 44. All right, seeing no additional questions. Seeing no additional questions, I think we're looking for a motion. And as Dan asked us, I think we need to have findings that the standards are met and a recommendation to council to approve the item. Alder Uguer, thank you.
Yes, move that the conditions are met for amendment of this TID, that we approve the amendment and recommend approval to the Common Council.
Thanks, Alder Uguer. Commissioner Solheim, that's second. Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, is there objection to unanimous approval for item 3 on TID number 44? All right, seeing none, that item is approved. The next item is Legistar 93412, approving the amendment to the project plan for tax incremental district TID number 46, Research Park, City of Madison, including parts of Alder District 9, District 11, and District 19. And I will open the public hearing on this item. Megan, are there registrants on this item?
There are no registrants, Chair.
All right, then we will close the public hearing. I'll ask the commission if they have questions for staff. And on this one, I actually had a question. Dan, there was a report in the Legistar that had like pink items that showed the amendments in the staff report to the TID, and the pink ones, I think, said 2025, and I think it meant 2026. So I just wanted to confirm that does mean that we should read that. I think it's this JRB. Oh, maybe it already got changed. JRB report. Thanks.
Yeah, there was a JRB report that had a typo that should have been, all of the items in pink are in 2026. So that's just a typo that's been, if it hasn't been corrected, it's in the process of being corrected.
All right. Thanks, Dan. So with that clarification, which apparently only confused me and no one else, and that's okay. Are there any other questions for staff on TID 46, or are we ready to make a motion? All right, Alder Uguer, thanks.
I'll move that we find the conditions are met for the amendment to TID 46, Research Park, and that we approve the amendment and recommend to the Common Council approval.
Commissioner Solheim, thank you for the second. Thanks, Alder Uguer. Any discussion? Absent that, any objection to unanimous approval for this amendment? All right, thank you. That amendment is approved or recommended for approval. Item 5, Legistar 93415, approving the amendment to the project plan for tax incremental district TID number 50, State and Lake Streets, City of Madison, covering parts of Alder Districts 2 and 4. I'll open the public hearing on that item. We can confirm, are there speakers?
No speakers, Chair.
Okay, thank you. We'll close the public hearing. Any questions for staff on TID 50 in particular? Seeing none, I would look for a motion and a second on the amendment to TID 50. Commissioner Solheim.
I'll move the Plan Commission find the standards are met and recommend approval of the amendment to TID 50 to Council.
Thank you. Alder Uguer, thank you. Second. Any discussion? And absent that, any objection to unanimous approval for the changes to TID 50? That is approved. We're making progress. Item 6 is Legistar 93416, approving the amendment to the project plan for TID 51 in South Madison, City of Madison, covering parts of Alder District 14. I'll open the public hearing. Ask to confirm if we have speakers.
No speakers, Chair.
Okay, then we'll close the public hearing on the amendment to TID 51. Are there any questions from the commission for staff on this item? And if not, I would look for a motion and a second. Commissioner Solheim, thank you.
I'll move that the Plan Commission find the standards are met and recommend approval of the TID amendment for TID 51.
Thank you. Thanks, Alder Gare. I appreciate the variation, so it won't look like it was a consent process. So we have a motion and a second on TID 51. Is there any objection to unanimous approval on that item? Thank you. That item is approved. Now our last amendment is item 7, Legistar 93418, approving the amendment to the project plan for TID number 54, on Pennsylvania Avenue, covering parts of Alder District 12. And we will open the public hearing on that item.
No speakers, Chair.
Okay, thank you. We'll close the public hearing on TID 54. Any questions from the commission on 54? And if not, I'm looking for a motion and a second for that item. Commissioner Solheim, thanks.
I'll move that the Plan Commission find that the standards are met and recommend approval of TID Plan Amendment 54.
Thank you. Commissioner Wisniewski, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Any objection to unanimous approval for item 7, the amendments to TID 54? Seeing none, that item is approved. Now we will move to the creation of new TID districts, starting with item 8, which is Legistar 93420, approving creation of the project plan and boundary for tax incremental district TID 56 in the Grand Canyon area, City of Madison, covering parts of Alder District 19. I'll open the public hearing on this item.
There are no registrants, Chair.
All right, we'll close the public hearing on this item. Are there questions from the commission for city staff on item 93420? Seeing none, I look for a motion and second. Alder Gare, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. I move that we find that the conditions are met for creation of TID 56 and its boundary, approving the creation and recommending approval to the Common Council.
Thank you. Is there a second? Commissioner Wisniewski, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the creation of TID District 56? Seeing none, is there objection to unanimous approval for this item? Seeing none, that item is approved, and we'll move to item 9, which is Legistar 93428, approving the creation of the project plan and boundary for tax incremental district TID number 57, Medical Circle in the City of Madison in Alder District 19. And we'll open the public hearing.
There are no registrants on this item, Chair.
Absent registrants, we'll close the public hearing. There's time for questions from commissioners for city staff on TID 57. And seeing no questions, I ask for a motion and a second on this item. Alder Gare, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. Finding that the conditions for the creation of a TID are satisfied, I move that we approve the creation of TID 57 and the related boundary and recommend to the Common Council for approval.
Thank you. there a second? Commissioner Wozniewski, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, is there any objection to unanimous approval for the motion to create TID District 57? Seeing none, that item is also approved and we'll send it to council. Thank you. Thanks, Dan, for the great presentation. And I'm sorry we didn't get to hear the singing and dancing this time. Maybe next time. So thanks. We will now move to so we're now gonna take up Southeast Area Plan, followed by the Southwest Area Plan. The Southeast Area Plan is items 15 and 16 as related items, and we'll consider them as one public hearing. And I will read the two items. They are very similar to each other, but each serves a specific statutory purpose, so we kind of have to do the same thing twice. Item 15 is Legistar 92878, adopting the Southeast Area Plan and the related amendment to the comprehensive plan. And this covers parts of Alder District 3, District 15, and District 16. And then item 16 is Legistar 93179, which is our Plan Commission resolution recommending adoption of an amendment to the comprehensive plan related to the Southeast Area Plan, again, covering parts of Alder Districts 3, 15, and 16. So we will start with a staff presentation, and we have Rebecca Kinnair.
Yep.
Kinnair, hard C.
Just like you have a hard G. We're
there we go.
We're cousins in that.
I appreciate that, and Jeff Greger. So thanks.
Yes.
Welcome to you both. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us. Jeff is going to be starting us off tonight. Thanks.
Yep. Hope everybody's able to see my screen.
Looks good, Jeff.
Great. So again, my name's Jeff Greger, co-lead on the Southeast Area Plan with Rebecca. We spoke with the Plan Commission back in December of 2025, going over the draft actions and maps. And so tonight I'm going to present kind of the highlights and summaries of those actions. I do have a few introductory slides. I'll try to speed through those as you've all seen them before. And really get into the meat of the presentation. So Southeast area bounded by Highway 30 on the north, Sickle-Cow on the south, Interstate on the east, City of Monona and Lake Monona on the west. We've been working on this plan since 2024, kind of, I guess, almost a year now. We started our public portion of that plan in November of 24, and we're in the adoption or final review and adoption portion of the planning process. Just want to highlight, we've done a lot of public engagement throughout this planning process. I just wanted to, again, mention the two outreach events that we did for the community action strategy that Alder Field mentioned in his email to the Plan Commission at High Stand Park and Honeysuckle Park, where we painted wildlife on the basketball courts, asked folks to help come up with project ideas for the community action strategy portion of the planning, as well as kind of prioritize those projects. We had a number of families who were staying at the family shelter just down the street from High Stand Park participate in the event, and we also gave away backpacks and school supplies. So two of our most well-attended meetings with the public and a really great engagements for this planning effort. Just wanted to mention as well, there are 6 underlying plans that will be archived as part of the adoption of the Southeast Area Plan. Those include the Milwaukee Street Special Area Plan, Cottage Grove Road Activity Centers Plan, Royster Clark Special Area Plan, Stoughton Road Revitalization Project, High Stand Neighborhood Plan, and the Marsh Road Neighborhood Development Plan. Staff reviewed all of the recommendations in those plans and incorporated the relevant still relevant recommendations into the Southeast Area Plan. So getting into the meat of the plan, we'll start out with land use. And again, I'm going to just hit the highlights and do some summarization of the actions, but we can get into more specifics later on if you'd like. So on your screen here, you're seeing the proposed generalized future land use plan for the Southeast area. And on the left there are the different land use categories. I wanted to point out that the Southeast and Southwest area plans are proposing through the comp plan amendment to add a category of medium residential 1. And from Southeast and Southwest going forward, medium density residential 1 would become part of the land use categories, as well as the low medium residential is the footnotes in the current comp plan will not apply to the Southeast or Southwest plans. We've presented and talked with the Plan Commission a number of times previously about making these changes. And then again, in those comp plan amendment materials that are attached to Legistar, you'll see those changes. We're removing some asterisks regarding a couple of categories, and we can get into that later if you have some additional questions. And then finally, I wanted to mention that the plans are also proposing that for areas that are shown in the GFLU, the Generalized Future Land Use Map, for general commercial and employment, those are not recommended for residential. As part of this process, we've poured over the future land use map and identified areas that were coded as general commercial or employment that would be appropriate for residential, and we changed those to either neighborhood mixed use or community mixed use or some form of residential, most likely either medium residential 1 or medium residential 2. So that process has happened along with Southeast and Southwest area plans. So I just wanted to point those out here. Moving on, we have the existing generalized future land use map that is shown in the current comp plan. The blue outlines are areas where this plan is proposing changes to the land use. And on the right, you'll see the proposed generalized future land use. The plan is proposing to add density and mixed use along high traffic corridors like Milwaukee Street, Cottage Grove Road, as well as transit corridors. A lot of instances, there may have been neighborhood mixed use shown, and the plan is proposing to change that to community mixed use. So the number of allowable stories would go up to a max of 6 versus 4 for neighborhood mixed use, as well as the allowable density would increase as well. The other major change made in the Southeast area plan is in the industrial and business park area east of Highway 51 and kind of north and south of Femrite Drive and the Beltline. A lot of the areas kind of shown on Femrite Drive for employment have been switched to be more industrial uses. That is kind of the way this area has been trending. And as staff, we feel that that was an appropriate change to make there. As part of this planning effort, there were a number of areas that were identified as kind of key sites for change. And so the next few slides here are highlighting those areas. The first one I want to talk about is the former American Family site on Walbridge, kind of where Highway 30 and Highway 51 intersect, so that kind of the southeast quadrant of that intersection. It's a 41-acre site, currently a vacant office building, large parking lots, and then there are some pedestrian paths that wind through a wooded area kind of along the western and northern areas of that property. The plan recommends a mix of housing types on a grid of public streets. And in the plan, we're showing two different options. One would be to redevelop the site, but keep the existing office building and reuse it as a mixed-use building. The second option would be to demolish that office building and the associated parking lots and totally redevelop the site into a residential neighborhood with a mix of housing types, everything from medium residential 1 all the way down to small lot single family. The next site we've identified, this one actually is a carryover from the Cottage Grove Road Activity Center plan. These sites were identified in that plan and are still relevant sites for potential redevelopment in the future. The sites are currently occupied by a Walgreens at the corner of Cottage Grove and Atwood. And then the other site is the Old National Bank site to the east of the Walgreens. And the plan recommends that the two sites be developed as community mixed use. The third site is that family shelter site near High Stand Park on Milwaukee Street. It's the current or the former nursing home facility, Carmenta, and is now the family shelter. The plan recommends that the site be developed as neighborhood mixed use. And what's shown in the plan on the graphic there is the possibility of up to 2 different buildings. The one proposed along Milwaukee Street could be a mixed-use building, and the one in the rear would be a medium residential 1. And then the last site that we identified is a rather large area. It's part of the Highway 51 study that WSDOT is doing, and that Rebecca and I have coordinated with WSDOT on that study. But we're highlighting the section between Buckeye and Tompkins Drive. As part of that coordination with WSDOT, the city has been advocating for a 35-mile-an-hour urban boulevard, which is the plan shown to the right. Currently, these are the land uses that are there now. The other option the DOT is looking at is a 45-mile-an-hour limited access highway or roadway, down from the speed limit of 55, which is currently there now. If the 45-mile-an-hour option was chosen by WSDOT, the recommendation in the plan would be to continue with the land uses shown on the left. However, if they choose the 35-mile-an-hour option, which the city is advocating for, the plan would recommend changing the land uses from general commercial on the west to community mixed use, and then 2 additional nodes of community mixed use at the Buckeye intersection and Flaum Road intersection, and then some additional street connections could be made with that alternative as well at Alice, at Tompkins, and then Helgenson. Thank you, Rebecca. And then the graphics along the right are some conceptual graphics of the types of development that could occur if the 35-mile-an-hour urban boulevard got developed. And now, kind of transitioning into the next section of the plan, we'll go through kind of a summary of the actions for each of the chapters. We'll start with the transportation. We heard got a lot of good input about the need to close gaps in the sidewalk network. The map on the right is the sidewalk network. And as part of the plan, we're showing the areas in red where there is currently no sidewalk. The areas in blue are what we're calling priority improvements. And those would be around areas that folks need to get to public buildings like schools. So there's La Follette High School, the middle school, and then Henderson Elementary down here. So a couple of the priority routes would be Spanum and Maher to get residents in the neighborhoods adjacent to those schools to be able to safely walk to those locations. We also heard a lot of feedback during this planning process about the need to improve pedestrian safety at crossings at major streets. So the plan has a number of actions that detail potential improvements, and the next map I'll show some of those locations. There's some areas where the plan proposes evaluating and improving street lighting for pedestrians. Up near Thompson Drive, up near Highway 30 is one of those areas. And then making general bicycle facility improvements, getting facilities up to the AAA standards, the all ages and abilities standards, and then improving multi-use path crossings at major streets. So these blue and yellow symbols here are some of the intersections that the plan highlights as need for improvements for pedestrian crossings and pedestrian safety. Another recommendation is to explore a community main street and the complete and green streets classifications. For Milwaukee Street west of Stoughton Road, this area is planned to redevelop into a fair amount of mixed use. And so the thought there is to change that classification to a community main street to provide for more pedestrian interaction in those uses. And then another one would be to connect former town of Blooming Grove streets to City of Madison streets after the town is attached. The town of Blooming Grove is set to attach to the city. The remainder of the town of Blooming Grove is set to attach to the city at the end of 2027. Continuing on with the transportation highlights, we heard a lot of folks give us feedback around needing to connect La Follette High School with better Metro Transit access. We also heard the need to connect residents to the employment areas. So one of the actions in the transportation section is to consider a north-south transit route to do those things. Again, depending on what is chosen for the Highway 51 corridor, that would be one potential location for a north-south route. We have plenty of east-west access, but the missing link here is good north-south connection. A lot of transportation highlights here. Talking about the street, bicycle, and multi-use paths again. The plan talks about creating well-connected neighborhoods in newly developing areas. So we have the Starkweather Plat off of Milwaukee Street, the area up near Walbridge that we talked about. There's also the Wingbrook Quarry site down in the southeast corner of the project area. We talked through the additional connections that could be part of that 35-mile-an-hour wide boulevard option on Highway 51. And then again, to increase our existing paths to the all ages and abilities standards. getting into neighborhoods and housing, supporting affordable housing. We've got a number of actions in the plan that talk about that. Talk about incentivizing and promoting programs that support owner-occupied housing, considering zoning changes to allow more home-based businesses and micro-commercial uses in neighborhoods, and then also investing in food retail through funding and technical assistance from the city. In the economy and opportunity chapter, we talk about, or the plan talks about supporting a new TID that would be somewhere in this blue outlined area. This blue outline, it would not be the boundaries of the TID, but it would occur somewhere within there. And that TID would help support naturally affordable business spaces, among other uses. The chapter talks about looking at a number of city-owned sites, specifically within this business park area, industrial area, but there are other sites like up in Royster Clark. But to examine those sites and for future development. The plan also talks about exploring opportunities to land bank additional sites. And then we will go on to culture and character. The big highlight there is evaluating the need for Urban Design District number 1. It's kind of disconnected from the rest of Urban Design District number 1, which is off to the west. And it's also in an industrial area, and it's not really doing what we hope urban design districts do. So the plan contemplates potentially removing that from the planning area. On the land use plan, there are also areas specified for commercial core, which would have higher design standards potentially. And those areas are generally around mixed use nodes and other mixed use areas. And then lastly, wanted to hit on that the plan talks about placemaking and public art to help build neighborhood identity and gateways. We're getting to the end, almost there. Green and resilient. The plan's talking about how we can increase the tree canopy in the southeast area, and also supports the ongoing parks master planning for Olbrich, as well as neighborhood and mini parks. In the effective government chapter, coordinating with city agencies, the sewer engineering folks on sanitary needs for future developments. And then also working with adjacent municipalities on potential boundary adjustments. There's some small boundary adjustments contemplated with Madison and Monona, as well as some potential intergovernmental agreement with the Village of McFarland. The last chapter of the plan is the community action strategy. The area highlighted in red is the community action strategy area for the southeast area. That's the High Stand neighborhood. The plan talks about how the city can do capacity building with that area of the community, enhance community and stakeholder relationships. And then again, as I mentioned earlier, we had those events in the parks where we painted on the basketball courts, and that was where we talked with folks about potential small scale physical improvements. Typically, those range from $100,000 to $200,000 projects. However, we were very transparent with folks to let them know that the funding may not be available. It is federal funding, and there have been numerous changes to that funding availability throughout this project. But yet it's an important piece of this plan. So we've recorded those priorities, those projects, and we're highlighting them here. There are a couple that are listed here. The Splash Park and the restroom facilities. Those are outside of the typical CAS project scope and budget. However, we have passed those along, that information along to the Parks Division as they contemplate planning for High Stand Park as they're doing these master plans. The other projects that were highly ranked, targeted traffic calming and safety improvements. Those could range from lighting, cameras, speed management, or crossing improvements. Those locations, some of those locations are Thompson, Swanton, Milwaukee, and Walbridge. Path linking Honeysuckle and High Stand Park through the Greenway. That would be working with the stormwater utility to make that a possibility. Parking lot lighting in High Stand Park. And then the last project that ranked pretty high was information kiosk in High Stand Park. So this is our schedule. We've visited a number of boards, committees, and commissions. The ones with a single asterisk, those committees or commissions recommended adoption of the plan to the Plan Commission. The ones with double asterisks, they recommended adoption with comments, and those comments were outlined in the memo that was provided the Plan Commission and loaded into Legistar. So after tonight's stop, the final stop will be Common Council. At this point, I'll be available for questions whenever you have them.
Thanks, Jeff. I think we do have registrants for item 15, so we will we'll start with item 15, which is the recommendation to council. And we'll open the public hearing on item 15. And Megan, if you would welcome our registrants.
Okay, sounds good. Our first registrant tonight will be Sarah Wilkin Gebhardt of District 15, registered in opposition and wishing to speak. And Emily, we may need to make our note about time for public speaking. I don't think we made that at the top.
Yep, thank you. Welcome, Sarah. We have 3 minutes for public speakers, and we do try to stick to that just to be fair to everyone and respect their time. So welcome. I think your microphone is live and you have the floor whenever you're ready.
Great, thank you so much. Hi, this is my first time to ever speak at a meeting like this. So right now I'm the president of the Lake Edge Neighborhood Association. And I want to thank Rebecca and her coworker for all of the hard work that they've done. I appreciate the focus groups and community engagement that they participated in. I have been on the board for the past 4 years, and Rebecca spoke at our meeting in January 2025. But unfortunately, our neighborhood, the Lake Edge neighborhood, which is bounded by Cottage Grove Road on the north, Dean Road on the south, Monona Drive on the west, and Stoughton Road on the east, is experiencing a lot of proposed changes with this plan. And no one reached out to us later to connect with us about these ideas. And that was just a little disappointing. I mean, you guys are doing amazing work, but our neighborhood is, really affected by this. And we just would have liked to have a reach out and a specific voice. Again, I know it's a big area. So specifically, a neighbor had a concern about the 4,000 block of Monona and Hague Avenue and Monona being designated as community mixed use. It's bounded by low residential to the east and is on, obviously Monona Drive is a big road, but Hague Avenue, which is where I live, is a dead end road. And first of all, I can't wait to share our neighborhood with more people. I'm so excited to have more development in the big corridors. But it doesn't, some of our neighborhood character, like you described earlier, is enjoying our wildlife, the oaks, the foxes, and having a relaxed, walkable neighborhood, which I know will be benefited by some sidewalk improvements that you guys have highlighted and prioritized, which is amazing. I'm just concerned that with the community mixed use, that could really put a damper on the walkability of, and this like really entry point to our neighborhood. And I'm curious about having it potentially reduced to a neighborhood mixed use, specifically to just leaving that height of 6 stories open. It is on the west side, and that would be visible throughout our entire neighborhood. Even 4 stories.
Sarah, you just have about 30 seconds left just to help you
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm just a little nervous that including that height option could create challenges or dissension or just conflict in the future. So again, I would maybe advocate for something smaller, neighborhood mixed use, or yeah. So those are a couple of our thoughts. And then lastly, considering just like the heat impact of adding density to the Cottage Grove Road and Monona Drive corridors. So I do have 2 questions. I don't know if that's part of this time or a different time.
So you are actually at time, but stay on the line. There may be time for the commissioners to ask you questions. And so it'd be good if you could stay available.
Okay, thank you so much. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak and for all of your hard work. This is going to make our area even better. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah.
All right. Our other registrant for tonight is Robert Proctor, representing QRS Company, which is affiliated with a public comment you received. Robert actually re-registered this afternoon in support and available to answer questions, and I believe we'll have some discussion about the comments here during your discussion time. And that's all of our registrants on this item, Chair.
All right, thank you. Are there questions from the commissioners for either of our registrants on the Southeast Area Plan? Commissioner Solheim, thanks.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask the prior speaker if she wanted to take another minute to finish up.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Nicole. Yes, Sarah, if you maybe if you could share the questions that you have and get a chance to just finish out your remarks.
Sure, thank you. Thank you very much. I have a simple question, which is, what are higher design standards? I saw that throughout the report, and I know the community mixed use have that designation of a higher design standard to neighborhood use. So just could you say more about that? And then what will be the actions to help address water quality and water management, as well as heat capture and opportunities for small businesses as the Monona Drive or Atwood and Cottage Grove Road corridors are developed?
Thanks, Sarah. Any other questions for registrants? Seeing none, we can we'll close the public hearing on item 15 and ask if the commissions if any commissioners have questions for city staff. Commissioner Heck, thanks.
Thanks. I have several questions. The first, I think just because of Sarah just speaking, maybe staff might want to address the questions about design standards and stormwater and things that she brought up, if you could.
Sure. I'll just share my screen too. I've got a slide kind of showing the existing comp plan and then the changes that the speaker described, making this one community mixed use. It was LR or a low residential one. And so, Rebecca, do you want to talk about the design standards maybe?
In a minute. I think I'll have to review that particular because that's a very specific question. So give me a second to review that. But I will say that we've talked in that corner where Buckeye and Monona Drive meet, that would be one of those areas where we would want that commercial core, that walkability to happen. And some of the, I understand what our speaker was talking about, because this is an area that we're, showing a lot of change. I think that as we did reach out to Lake Edge and other neighborhoods, we very consistently heard kind of three goals. One is that they were worried about people not being able to afford to live in their neighborhood anymore. Wanting some additional the opportunities for owner-occupied units, and also concentrating the highest development on those major commercial corridors with the highest transit and mixed-use opportunities. So this being at the corner of Buckeye and Monona Drive, and then just a block up being Cottage Grove Road, was really kind of an epicenter of where there is a really walkable, transit-friendly kind of feeling that is already very close to being there in many cases. And it was a chance to not try. In other places, we tried to create that out of whole cloth. Like, this is a place where we think that would work. Here, we wanted to build on something that was already there. And having that low residential to the low medium residential. So that was really very much came from that idea of this is where the missing middle could then occur and could be those opportunities for owner-occupied opportunities, right? So that people could, move into that from renting. And some of the other things that we heard were about people wanting to stay in neighborhoods as they grew older and maybe were leaving their homes. And so that's why having some more of that higher density along Monona Drive really made a lot of sense. That specific block also holds a church on it. And so, thank you, Jeff. And so that church, throughout this document, not in every case, but kind of throughout this plan, we've looked for ways to offer church sites that are often transitioning throughout the city into other uses and becoming more mixed use. We've seen a couple of projects over time where places of worship are trying to, open up their own opportunities to use some land that they had to provide some housing. And so that was, that church being there was sort of the nexus for us looking at this block in its entirety and saying, well, hey, if the church could do something here, that really could make this whole block become a really wonderful transition there to help increase that walkability from Buckeye all the way up to Cottage Grove Road. In terms of a CMU and having higher design standards than NMU, I'm going to have to refresh. I'm going to have to go look and refresh myself on that, unless somebody else on our team that's, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess what I was referring to when I said higher design standards was the commercial core areas.
Yes, okay.
And those
that's what I thought, but
those would have higher urban design standards. So we look at types of materials used in the building, having ground floor retail or offices, making it more walkable for folks to access, that sort of thing.
In terms of the speaker's other questions about water quality and opportunities for small businesses, I'll start with kind of the water quality and the heat island issue. That is something that we talked about quite a bit in our Green and Resilient chapter, about looking for places where there are a lack of trees and street trees. This area isn't particularly one of them, although certainly with redevelopment, we do see a loss of trees that were on, existing larger lot development. But as a whole, this community is in pretty good shape, frankly, compared to some others. There's some really missing, and I know you don't have a slide on this, Jeff, and it's okay, but it's in the draft plan. There are areas in some of the industrial areas that really do have a lot more heat island issues. But really that, really we're not quite as worried along this because of all of the lake access and the parks and all of the wonderful green spaces that this neighborhood has. One of the last things is about opportunities for small businesses. And that is something that we think this community mixed use would provide because of all of the great businesses that have occurred, that are on Cottage Grove Road, that are on Monona Drive and Atwood Avenue. We hope that this even strengthens that as more of a core. But I think really the main difference between CMU and NMU is that additional 2 stories. So the speaker was concerned about that, but in essence, the difference really comes down to 2 stories. Otherwise, the densities go up a little bit with those 2 stories, but the design considerations are the same. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Commissioner Heck.
It does. Thanks to both of you. I think that was great information. Just one more quick question for now. We also had a public comment about the same neighborhood and feeling that it needed to have higher densities in the future land use map. And I wondered how the discussion about that went in public engagement. And also there was a concern that if what I assume might be non-conforming, missing middle apartment buildings and things were to, let's say one of them burns down, can they rebuild their non-conforming use if that is indeed the situation?
Yeah, I'll start this one out if I could. I just wanted to point out the changes that are being proposed to low residential, low medium residential. And I think those address some of those comments that were brought up. So in the current comp plan, 3-unit buildings, single family attached, and small multifamily buildings all are covered by the asterisk where it's permitted in select conditions up to 30 DU per acre and 3 stories, generally along arterial streets, or where those types of existing buildings are already present or planned within the adopted sub-area. So one of the changes that is being proposed as part of the comp plan amendment in tandem with the Southeast and Southwest area plans is to remove the asterisk from 3-unit buildings and single family attached buildings and bring those into the low residential category as allowable. And that change is due to recent changes in the zoning code that would allow that to happen. And then kind of to answer what would happen if a small apartment building burned down or was flattened by a tornado, could they rebuild? Again, I think that's covered by the asterisk that appropriate in select conditions, and the condition would be where that building was already present or planned, within that area. So I think some of that addresses those concerns. And again, as part of this planning effort, we're listening to a lot of competing voices. So that, there's some folks that, don't want large changes to their neighborhoods, and there are other folks that would love more density, that sort of thing. And kind of the middle ground that we found, Rebecca, correct me if I'm saying anything wrong, but the middle ground that we tried to find in this plan was upping densities along higher traffic corridors, transit corridors. There are a number of areas along Cottage Grove Road, Milwaukee Street, that the plan is suggesting going from low residential up to low medium residential, and in some cases, medium residential 1. But, we also, the plan, it thinks it's appropriate in those higher trafficked areas. Perhaps in the future, planning efforts will look more in established neighborhoods, but between the changes that are being made to the table that's on your screen here and the changes that we made along those transit corridors and higher traffic corridors, we kind of feel like that's a good middle ground between those competing interests or those competing voices that we heard.
Yeah, I think Jeff's exactly right. And I think it would have taken a larger discussion with the Plan Commission ahead of time if there was a goal to, take our low residential neighborhoods and completely turn them to low, medium residential, I think is a larger policy question. We do feel like we're getting at some of those goals that we've been hearing about, offering a little more flexibility by doing those changes that Jeff mentioned in this chart, so that we're making those 3-unit buildings, single family attached, more likely to happen in the low residential areas. So that really brings some of that missing middle into many, to really everywhere on that lower end of the missing middle. So, I mean, we think that's a really positive move forward, but going much further than that would have been a larger policy discussion that we would have wanted to have with you in advance.
Great, and I really appreciate the wisdom of your approach at this time, and I look forward to future discussions. Thanks. Bigger scale discussions.
And thanks to Jeff for having these slides ready to go. I appreciate that too.
Thanks. Commissioner Solheim.
Thank you. I have one question that also applies to the other plan. You mentioned in your presentation in the memo how you reviewed the general commercial and industrial areas to confirm that those remaining, that are called out as that are not appropriate for residential, which is consistent with what we've discussed before. I guess that made me think if at some point, perhaps with an update to the comp plan, like there is with these language changes, if the narrative of general commercial needs to be adjusted at any point, because there's still, fair amount of wiggle room in that for residential. I understand right now kind of we're in the interim of reviewing the land use maps, but if at some point that would make sense.
Yeah, Commissioner Solheim, I'll take this one. That's definitely something we've discussed as something we might want to address in an interim update or in the next comp plan update. And in the meantime, we do have some potential to make some tweaks to what's permitted or not permitted within the zoning districts that we use to implement those land use recommendations as well. We do have the opportunity to tighten them up a bit to be more consistent with our intended implementation.
Okay.
But that's a great point of just, how we make sure it's all kind of pointing in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? Commissioner Heck?
Sorry, one more question. I wondered if staff had an opinion about the idea of changing the GFLU for the quarry property that was included in a public comment.
Yeah, I can talk through that a little bit here. I've got a few slides that kind of give a little bit of background on it, and then can kind of talk about the potential for a map note or not. So the parcels in question are outlined in red. So there's the Wingra parcels and the QRS parcel. It's more of a vertical skinny rectangle. Part of the quarry is still in the town of Blooming Grove until October of 2027. The middle map here is trying to get at kind of the elevation changes within that quarry. Some of the staff concerns are over not knowing final elevations and whether or not potential future road connections would work between the two properties. And then we also are looking at, what the natural features out there are. There are some indications of soils with hydric inclusions as well as hydric soils. But again, until you get into the nitty gritty of a development, going off of these DNR and FEMA maps, it's kind of not as precise as we'd like, but it's the best information we have. Here's kind of an aerial view of those two properties again, kind of to show you some of those elevation concerns. There's some rather tall quarry walls in different parts of the site. There's also a burial mound in the middle that needs to be factored into the development or how this area may or may not develop. So that's kind of in general where it is. There's a pond back here. We've been told that that's due to quarrying, that it's not a naturally occurring Pond, but that also based off of the information we have, that is the low point in the site. So here's an overlay of the proposed land uses and proposed street pattern within the draft plan. Again, here's that burial mound and how it relates to potential east-west street. And then this is kind of the area in green here is kind of what was talked about in the letter that was put forth by Attorney Proctor for the representing the two property owners. So, you know, the plan is anticipating some low-medium residential along Marsh Road, potential for some employment in the northwest corner, and then low residential for the balance of the property, and then parks and other open space. And so that encompasses things like stormwater, recreation spaces, that sort of thing. But in this instance, it's mostly envisioned for stormwater and protection of that burial mound site. So on the left is what is in the current comp plan. It shows the area all for this northern portion of the Wingra parcels, as well as the QRS parcel as low residential. And the reason for that is in the Marsh Road Neighborhood Development Plan, which was done in the 90s and has not been updated since, it showed for the Wingra parcel, the larger rectangle, as well as the QRS property, or I'm sorry, just for the Wingra, as future residential. It didn't propose any street layout. It didn't show any stormwater. A lot of our older neighborhood development plans were not that granular, that it showed areas reserved for stormwater. It just kind of showed bigger blocks of land uses for residential or commercial or industrial or whatever, and not for those stormwater. What we've tried to do in new and updates to neighborhood development plans predating the area plan process was to get into more fine-grained detail, showing areas that would need to be reserved for stormwater and other open space. And we're trying to carry that forward in the area plan process as well. And so, as I mentioned before, there's a lot of unknowns about the quarry site, how it will be reclaimed or final graded, and whether or not additional streets, mainly in this green area, we're fairly confident in the other streets that we're showing, but the streets in this park and open space area, whether or not we could make additional street connections without knowing those grades, without knowing the exact areas stormwater would need to occur in, how stormwater kind of gets out of this hole. I don't know how well that quarry pond drains to the north and east. The issue with the QRS property is if we can't make additional connections into the Wingra property, and this back portion could be developed, it would be on a long cul-de-sac, potentially longer than the 600 feet that the subdivision code says is the maximum length for a cul-de-sac. And quite honestly, on a cul-de-sac, isolated kind of back in this corner may not be the best situation for serving it for emergency services, that sort of thing. So, to the best of our ability, planning staff has kind of put forth a proposed layout for these two properties. We have spoken with the property owner for QRS. We've tried to contact Wingra Quarry, not as successfully, but trying to explain these issues with them. The attorney put forth a proposal for a suggested map note. It's not something that staff is opposed to generally, and I've put some proposed language here that the commission could entertain potentially, basically saying that the area designated as parks and open space due to the presence of burial mounds and potential stormwater management area serving the future development. Future detailed planning for development may demonstrate that this area is suitable for additional street to support additional low residential. So that could be a map note that we add to the generalized future land use as a kind of a compromise between what the draft plan proposes and what the property owner's representative proposed in their letter to the Plan Commission.
Thanks, Jeff. You were ready for that.
I was.
I'll have to think about that. Thanks for your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? I wonder if we're ready to move to a motion, and then maybe it sounds like there might be some opportunity for a little discussion. Commissioner Solheim, thank you.
Thank you. I'll move that the Plan Commission, I guess, are we adopting, we're recommending adopting?
This would be the recommendation to the Common Council to adopt the plan and related amendment to the comp plan. Yep.
Thank you. I will move that the Plan Commission recommend adoption of the Southeast Area Plan and related amendment to the comp plan, subject to the changes suggested by staff outlined in the memo, as well as the additional map note discussed for the quarry area.
Thanks. Is there a second? Commissioner Heck? Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. I don't know, Nicole, if you'd like to speak to the motion a little more, or yeah.
I just wanted to reiterate and following Alderfield's comments, thank you so much to staff for all of your work and really impressive presentation, which you were clearly very well prepared for with all of the slides. And following our discussion with the registrant, I just wanted to also reiterate, I do think that section on Monona Drive is really important if we want to create a walkable area in that neighborhood. It's really kind of the missing tooth between what's happening on Cottage Grove Road and the strip mall to the south. So I think redevelopment of that in the future will support that neighborhood priority.
Thanks. Other discussion? Alder Figueroa Cole?
So I'm sorry, what is the language that we are adding for the quarry?
It was in that
Just
slide.
could you share your screen again?
Do we usually reference burial mounds in area plan on the plans? In general?
We could remove that from the map.
Yeah, I think that actually would be a very good idea now that I am rethinking after listening to our discussion tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think like anything like that, we should just like get input from the most impacted people before we
make it public. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
So perhaps it could be something, sorry, I'm answering your question. I'm out of order. Sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead. If that's what I mean.
Yeah, Rebecca, we would welcome your suggestion as to how to change that language.
I think you could probably just say designated parks and open space due to presence of existing open space and potential stormwater management serving future development. We could probably just take the words burial mounds out. And
I mean, I think it could also be replaced with like a reference to a cultural resource. I think it is important to notice the reason why we are concerned about the space, but we do try to be sensitive about preservation of the mounds themselves and protection of them as a long-term cultural resource in our community. So
I appreciate that. I mean, calling out the importance without calling out that negative attention to the area and keep protecting it.
Yeah,
like
presence of, cultural resources and a potential stormwater management area.
I think.
Thank you, Alder.
Thank you.
Thanks. I think we want to amend Commissioner Solheim's motion. Commissioner Solheim, do you want to take a shot at the maybe restating your motion, and then we'll see if we can get a restated second. Megan, is that okay with you? Okay.
Okay. I will move that the Plan Commission recommend adoption of the Southeast Area Plan and related amendment to the comp plan, including the staff recommended changes outlined in the memo posted on Legistar, as well as an additional map note for the Wingra parcel and QRS parcel areas, stating that this area is designated parks and open space due to the presence of cultural resources and a potential stormwater management area. Serving future development, future detailed planning for development may demonstrate portions of this area are suitable for additional streets to support additional low residential development.
Thank you. Is there?
I would say, is Commissioner Heck okay with that amended motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Great. We will update the motion and Commissioner Heck's second of the motion to reflect that that change. Is there any other discussion on the pending motion? And again, this is a recommendation to council. All right. Seeing none, is there objection to unanimous approval for the motion on the table for item 15? Seeing none, that motion is passed. We now need to get to item 16, which is the Plan Commission. It's a Plan Commission resolution, so it's our own adoption of the amendment to the plan. And again, it's pretty much the same thing. If we could get a motion in a second on that. Commissioner Solheim, thank you.
Thank you. I will move that the Plan Commission recommend adoption of the amendment to the comp plan related to the Southeast Area Plan per Legistar 93179.
Thank you. Alder Figueroa Cole, thank you for the second. Any discussion on this motion? Any objections?
Chair, may I offer a friendly amendment to addition to this? I think because this is the Plan Commission's action alone to adopt this resolution, I think your motion should include the language to adopt this resolution or to approve this resolution.
Even on the agenda, it says recommending adoption, but we are adopting it.
That's what the resolution does, is recommends the council adopt the plan and the comp plan amendment, but the resolution is yours. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I will amend my motion to say the Plan Commission adopts the recommended amendment.
The Plan Commission approves the resolution.
Approves the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Alder Figueroa Cole, looks like you're good with that. Thank you. All right. Now any additional discussion? And I will then pause our, is there any objection to unanimous approval for the motion to approve the resolution? All right, seeing none, that item is approved. So thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate all of your work. Really reiterate, you've gotten a lot of great comments at the meeting tonight and you definitely earned them. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Chair, may I interject with one item before Jeff and Rebecca leave?
Yes.
I just also wanted to extend my appreciation for them as co-managers, as well as to the rest of their project team for all their hard work on this planning process. Look forward to having it at council in 2 weeks. And before she leaves, I wanted to make a little bit of an out of order announcement for all of you if you are not aware. Rebecca was recently promoted to our principal planner, leading the neighborhood planning, preservation, and design section of our team. So if you are familiar with Bill Fruling's former role, Rebecca is now leading the team that works on many of the projects related to area plans, as well as other work related to implementation of our plans. So just wanted to make you all aware of that, because I'm sure you'll see her in that capacity in the future.
Congratulations.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. All right, we will pivot to our last two formal agenda items. These are also related, and this is related to our Southwest Area Plan. Item 17 is Legistar 92879, adopting the Southwest Area Plan and the related amendment to the comprehensive plan, including parts of districts 1, 7, 10, 19, and 20. And item 18 is Legistar 93178, which is the Plan Commission's own resolution recommending adoption of an amendment to the comprehensive plan related to the Southwest Area Plan, again for districts 1, parts of districts 1, 7, 10, 19, and 20. So we will start with a staff presentation there, and we have Urvashi Martin and Ben Zellers. Urvashi, Claire Martin, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Let me share my screen here. Can you see my presentation okay?
We can.
All right, thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Urvashi Martin. I work in the Planning Division. I'm one of the co-leads for the Southwest Area Plan. And I'm also joined here with my colleague, Ben Zellers, who's the other co-lead for the Southwest Area Plan. And we also have a couple of our colleagues, Tim Parks and Linda Harveth, who are also from the Southwest Area Plan team. So we'll start off with a little bit of background about the Southwest area. So just as a refresher for the commission members, the boundaries that we're looking at for the Southwest area, the area is bounded by Beltline Highway to the north. To the east, the boundaries follow the city's municipal boundaries that the city shares with the city of Fitchburg. To the south, the boundaries follow Highway 18 and 151 and then continues along Cross Country Road. And to the west, the boundaries generally follow the High Point Road until it meets the Beltline. There are approximately 37,000 residents in the Southwest area, which is about 13% of the city's population. This area is also more racially and ethnically diverse than the city overall, with a higher percentage of people who identify themselves as Black and Hispanic Latinx. In terms of timeline, we're following the same timeline as the Southeast Area Plan. So as Jeff mentioned, we are in the final phase of this process, going through the plan review and adoption. This slide here just summarizes some of the public engagement that we did throughout this process. And similar to the Southeast Area Plan, we had very similar outreach and engagement and different ways and techniques that we utilized to engage with the community. And you all are familiar with it because we provided you an update on these on the different ways we tried to engage with the community. So we had a pretty robust engagement process as we moved through this area plan process. In terms of the draft plan format, we have a very similar format to the Southeast Area Plan and have the chapters organized by the comprehensive plan's topic areas. And in terms of the chapter contents, they generally follow the outline of what we heard from the community and also actions that are led by the city and then partnerships. These are actions that are led by entities other than the city. In terms of our land use recommendations, like the Southeast Area Plan, we also followed the comprehensive plan as a guiding document and used the land use categories from the comprehensive plan's generalized future land use map, with the exception that Jeff noted for the medium residential 1 land use category. This was a new land use category that we created through this process. replacing the low medium residential select conditions, which is often referred to as the escalator clause. So in terms of some of the major changes that we are recommending to the future land uses are proposed along Schrader Road, Gammon Road, Raymond Road, and McKee and Maple Grove area, where we have intensified some of the types of mixed-use development and residential development. The slide here is showing the changes that we are proposing to the future land uses compared to what was recommended in the comp plan's generalized future land use map with the black outline showing the changes. So as I noted in the previous slide, majority of those changes are proposed along major transportation corridors like Schrader Road, Raymond, McKee, and other corridors where we have intensified the type of mixed-use developments, change from neighborhood mixed use to community mixed use, and in some areas bumped up the residential development intensity, with the exception of the area along Allied Drive, where we have lowered the intensity of residential development to reflect what exists today on ground. Staff feels that there has been significant investments in the area and that's less likely to change, so we reduce the intensity of residential development there. We have also added 3 map notes, which are also referenced in our land use chapter under our land use actions. In terms of our transportation chapter, similar to the Southeast area plan, we also have a pedestrian network map that recommends closing some of the gaps in our sidewalk network through street reconstruction projects and also through Safe Streets for All grants. We have also prioritized locations where sidewalk improvements should be made, especially the areas around the schools and major streets. In terms of our shared use path and bicycle network, we have added an additional map that's showing existing on-street bike facilities, that could be upgraded to an all ages and ability standards. And then we have also added in the draft plan additional details and graphics to illustrate the cross-section of Whitney Way between the Beltline and Raymond Road to illustrate what that cross-section could look like if it's striped as buffered bike lanes. For our planned street network map, we are showing 2 officially mapped streets that have been on the city's official map since the 1960s. The Schrader Road realignment and also Hampshire Place. These are shown with the purple color on the map, generally on the northern portion of the planning area. Another street that we are recommending to be considered for official mapping is a segment of Meadow Street Drive, which is shown with the green color on the map to connect to High Point Road. This is a recommendation that has been carried forward from a previously adopted plan, the High Point Raymond Neighborhood Development Plan. And then we are also showing other planned streets on the map in the yellow. The Southwest area is mostly developed, so there are not too many planned street connections, except for the western portion where we have the Midpoint Meadows subdivision. Just to note some other transportation actions here, we also have an action relating to Raymond Road. We have a short-term and a long-term action specific to Raymond Road to improve safety along that corridor. For the intersection of Cross Country, Maple Grove, and Nesbitt intersection, we are recommending a roundabout to improve safety as well as the traffic flow of that intersection. That was a topic that we received a lot of public comments on. Relating to the Beltline, we also added additional details to the draft plan based on the information that was made available through the Beltline's Planning Environmental Linkages Study, the PEL study that came available later last year. And we added some of those details and included some of the drawbacks and challenges of some of the recommendations that are being proposed through that study. We also added a summary of some of the comments from the resolution that the Common Council passed earlier this year. We have also added additional partnerships in the transportation chapter relating to WISDOT in reference to the Beltline Pell study that was released relating to the concerns about the Verona Road interchange and also the interchange improvements for Whitney Way and Gammon Road, especially in reference to the impacts on the pedestrians and bicyclists, and also some of the cross Beltline street connections. In terms of neighborhoods and housing, we heard a lot of comments from the community about lack of affordable housing in the area. So some of the actions that we are recommending are expanding homeownership opportunities, especially in the allied neighborhood, by developing townhomes and other small to mid-scale housing to address some of those affordable housing issues, especially on city-owned properties. We also heard a lot of comments about maintaining some of the existing affordable housing in this area. So we have an action in this chapter for completing program building inspection projects. So to maintain some of those affordable housing in the community and make them safer. Relating to programming, we heard a lot of comments about lack of programming or expanding programming opportunities, and we have a partnership in the plan in this chapter to encourage programming and expanding it through partnerships with schools, school districts, and MSCR and others. In terms of economy and opportunity, we had also heard a lot of comments about potential improvements to the Verona Road area. So we have added additional details to the draft plan and added a map that shows some of the potential improvements that could be made to the Verona Road area, not just by improving the aesthetics, by adding trees and landscaping, but also enhancing the Southwest Commuter Path right away in partnership with WISDOT, and also transitions to land uses that could occur. Especially in reference to the economy and opportunity, there's an action in this chapter that if there's significant revenue generating redevelopment that is proposed on the southeast or southwest corners of the Beltline and Verona Road interchange, a new tax increment financing district should be created to support some of those business development and employment. In terms of our culture and character chapter, similar to the Southeast Area Plan, we also have an action relating to Urban Design District 2. This is the only urban design district which is within the Southwest area, and we have an action to evaluate the boundaries for Urban Design District 2 and also the standards as the city goes through the process of updating the Urban Design District Code. We also have an action relating to historic resources in the Southwest area. We have an action of informing the property owners of historic interests that are identified through this process of their potential eligibility to be listed on the National Register of Historic Places and or as a Madison landmark and some of the benefits of those designations. Some additional highlights from some other chapters in the plan. We have some park-specific actions in our Green and Resilient chapter. We have, similar to the Southeast Area Plan, recommending completing the parks development plans for mini and neighborhood parks, and also updating the master plan for Elver Park, which is a process that will be starting up soon. Relating to our effective government chapter, we have an action specific to the Meadow Ridge Library and also actions like pursuing an intergovernmental agreement with the town of Verona. Some other highlights from other chapters. For health and safety, we have identified several transportation corridors where we are recommending conducting Vision Zero speed analysis to improve safety along those corridors, and also identified some locations where street lighting could be evaluated. For our community action strategy chapter, we have identified some potential small-scale physical improvement projects that could be implemented in the three community action strategy areas, Allied, Meadowood, and Park Edge, Park Ridge. And these projects could be implemented and funded through federal funding from the Community Development Block Grant Program. In terms of some of the comments, the slide here highlights some of the comments that we had received on the draft actions and maps when we had released it to the public last year in October. There were some comments about appreciation for extending the Hammersley Road path, also support for the separated bike lanes we're showing on Whitney Way. There were some comments about including McKee Road, which is a county highway on Vision Zero speed analysis, on our Vision Zero speed analysis map. We also had several comments on supporting the Seminole Highway bike lanes that we are recommending being upgraded to an all ages and abilities standard. There were also several comments about ensuring that the new shared use path connections through Elver Park not interfere with the existing winter cross-country ski pads. I wanted to mention that we also received some comments to the Plan Commission on this topic as well, and just wanted to note that Parks Department, as I mentioned previously, will be starting the master planning process for Elver Park, and as part of that process, they will be looking at more specific and details on what specific locations the shared use path connections can occur. We also got some comments about some mixed feelings on the action we had to study Woodington Way on converting that to a one-way street by Anana Elementary to improve safety. And then there were also several comments opposing the Hampshire Place street connection. Some of the edits that we made in response to these public comments that we received, we have removed the recommendation to study Woodington Way as a one-way street. We also included a community action strategy project in the Allied area to improve park amenities at either Britta Park or Devalis Park. We have also included a partnership with Dane County in the Health and Safety chapter for McKee Road to consider safety improvements. As noted previously in the presentation, we also added additional details on the Beltline study and also additional partnerships with WSDOT. We also added the Verona Road area map with potential improvements that could be considered in the area and also additional narrative. We also added a map to show some of the existing bike facilities that could be upgraded to the all ages and abilities bike standards. In terms of next steps, we are following the same timeline and next steps in the review process, like the Southeast Area Plan, and have gone to the same committees, and all the committees have recommended adoption, and the Landmarks Commission, which we attended prior to the Plan Commission, was the only commission that had some additional comments with their recommended adoption motion. So with that, I will turn it over to the chair and will be available for questions.
Chair, you're muted.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. We will move to, I think, a public hearing. We'll take up item 17 first, and we'll move to we'll have the public hearing combined for both items. Do we have any registrants for the public hearing?
There are no registrants, Chair.
Okay. Then we'll close the public hearing. And we will move to time for questions from the commission for city staff on the plan. Alder Yeager, thanks.
Thank you, Chair. do the urban design comments require additional edits or comments to what we're looking at here?
The Urban Design Commission didn't have additional comments. It was the Landmarks Commission that.
Landmarks. I'm sorry, landmarks.
Yeah, and staff agrees with the changes that Landmarks Commission proposed, and we'll be making those changes.
Okay, are those included in the staff recommended edits in Legistar?
Yes, we had noted that in the Plan Commission memo.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Commissioner Heck, thank you.
I'm going to ask a facetious question. Do planners ever sleep? You've done so much. That's all I wanted to say. You don't have to answer.
Thanks, Commissioner Heck. Alder Figueroa Cole.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. So I first of all, I struggle a lot with surveys that we throw there, and how do we analyze those? But I have to say that the bracket idea I really, really like, because it's something that is not a right or wrong answer, and it really forces people to look at priorities and kind of gives them a glimpse of the decisions that we have to make every day. So please keep up with anything that looks like that. I really, really appreciate that type of feedback collection. So for the Raymond Road corridor, there were some discussions there about short-term and long-term changes, and I have received a lot of feedback about that corridor specifically. So can you share a little bit more about what the short-term, what is coming down the pipe for that corridor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so in terms of some of the comments that we received about improving safety along Raymond Road, in our discussion with our transportation colleagues, we determined that there's some things that could be done in the short term to address those traffic safety concerns, and there's certain things that could be done long term when that Raymond Road is reconstructed, in terms of reducing the number of lanes, adding bump outs and other things. But in the short term, there could be certain things that could be done before the street is reconstructed, and that is kind of what we have in the plan.
Thank you. And then for the this plan started at the same time as the school constructions, and we have a few of them in this side of town. So for the Whitney Way, Whitney Way is also a very difficult road and dangerous, and especially also has a big impact on the school construction. So what recommendations do we have for that area, for that corridor?
So yeah, for the section of Whitney Way between the Beltline and the Raymond Road, which is kind of adjacent to the school, we have the action for adding a buffered bike lane, because right now the lane markings are very confusing. So that is kind of an action that we're proposing. And we also added some additional detail and a more detailed graphic in the draft plan than what we had released initially to the community, to kind of illustrate what that cross section could look like. As far as the specific type of facility, I think that would be something that when that street is reconstructed, that would be something that would be like a design consideration at that point. And I don't know, Ben, if you wanted to add anything to that.
It's a good summary. Thanks.
Well, I don't have any other questions at this moment, but I really, again, thank you so much for the work. And especially, I know that put a little bit of push in on taking a closer look at the Verona interchange and employment and transition there. And you guys really came through and so I really appreciate that and the plan in general. So thank you guys.
Thank you. Planner Parks, did you have something to add?
I guess so. I'll just briefly mention that as it relates to the redevelopment of the Toki Orchard Ridge school site, that there was a conversation last Friday morning that involved alternate SHEHAC or ex officio member SHEHAC, and we are working with the school district and their consultant team on what the Whitney Way cross-section will look like adjacent to the school, as well as some other street changes associated with that project, which will be coming before the Plan Commission for review over the next couple of months. But those changes will look very consistent with the guide or the language and the drawings that we have in the Southwest Plan.
Thank you.
Aldo Yeager.
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify, the suggested action on the potential changes to Urban Design District 2, are we talking about changes in the boundary, elimination of the district? What kind of breadth of consideration do we think is appropriate there?
Yeah, for the Urban Design District 2, I think we, as the Urban Design Code update process occurs, we would probably look at the boundary adjustment, and we are not considering eliminating the Urban Design District like the Southeast Area Plan team has been considering, but we will be looking at the boundary limits as it exists today and if it makes sense, and also kind of the standards. We also, in our discussions with relating to urban design, have also recommended a commercial core area along Schrader Road. So as that code update occurs, there'll be like discussion on the standards as well.
Okay, thank you. And let me just say, I think I attended all of the engagement sessions. I even went on the Southwest bike tour the other day, along with Alder Figueroa Cole. And just again, I really appreciate all of the staff involvement, Urvashi, Ben, Tim, Linda, the whole team just done a tremendous job on this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alder.
It's Commissioner Heck.
Thanks. This is probably for Tim. I just wanted to understand if some of the changes that you said are being mulled over in the vicinity of the school, would those also go to Transportation Commission?
Not directly from the Plan Commission. Right now, there are two different ways that the school project will come to the Plan Commission. Will either be as a conditional use in the SRC1 zoning that the site has now, or rezoning of the site to campus institutional to allow the proposed height of the building as it's currently designed. In either of those cases, the Plan Commission will either be approving or recommending approval, respectively, with conditions. Some of those conditions may find their way to the Transportation Commission as part of the public, the approval of the public improvement plans required for the project. Those would automatically go through the Board of Public Works before they went to the Common Council, but frequently those are also going to the Transportation Commission first.
Great, thanks. That's what I was looking for.
Thanks. So we might be ready to take up a motion on item 17, which is Similar to the Southeast Plan, item 17 will be the recommendation from the Plan Commission to the Common Council on this plan. Alder Yeager.
Yes, I'll move adoption of the Southwest Area Plan and the related amendment to the comprehensive plan, and incorporated the recommended staff edits as posted in Legislar, and recommend adoption to the Common Council.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Figueroa Cole. Thanks for the second. Any discussion on this motion? Any objection to unanimous approval for the motion? All right, seeing none, item 17 is approved. That will take us to item 18, which is similar, but it's our own resolution under, I think I finally figured out that it's the state statute that requires 18 and the city ordinance requires 17. So we need a similar motion. Alder Yeager, thank you.
Yes, I move that the Plan Commission adopt the amendment to the comprehensive plan related to the Southwest Area Plan, including the staff recommended edits as posted in Legistar.
Thanks, Alder Figueroa Cole. Thank you. Any additional discussion?
I'm just going to make the same friendly amendment that I did for Commissioner Solheim and ask if it's friendly to say that you're approving the resolution.
I'm seeing nodding.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank
Alder.
you.
Yes, so approving the resolution. All right, any objection to unanimous approval for the motion to approve the resolution? Seeing none, that resolution is approved. And then I would just echo the Alder comments on the level of work and the quality of the presentation and the quality of the plan that you guys have presented. So thank you very much and congratulations.
Likewise, thank you to Urvashi and Ben for their excellent work managing this project. And I think Commissioner Heck, to answer your question, planners definitely don't sleep during core engagement season. I think especially during nights of the year when there's a lot of opportunities to meet folks at community events, this team puts in a lot of work to go and meet people in those places. So thank you all for your hard work on this.
Thank you. So those are our agenda items. We now have time for member announcements, communications, or business items, if folks have any of those. I will say thanks for everybody's flexibility last week when it was pouring down rain and we didn't really want to make everybody drive downtown in that. And we will, I think Megan will share, we'll try to get those items incorporated into regular meeting agendas so we don't have to try to find a time to reconvene that meeting in the future. Other announcements, Alder Figueroa Cole?
About that special meeting, I will be out of the city on the September 1. So I was looking forward to it, but then I booked my flight and I didn't realize I was there. So in case it gets changed, let me know. Otherwise, I'm gonna miss it.
It'll be recorded, but yes.
Oh, perfect.
About that.
All right, perfect.
All right. Absent other items, we can move for time for the secretary's report. Megan, thank you.
All right, thank you, Chair. Yes, I also wanted to echo the Chair's thank you to all of you for your flexibility. I didn't hear many major objections to us having to cancel our meeting at the last minute, but appreciated that because this was an in-person only meeting for you and the public to access, we wanted to just keep everyone's safety in mind given the potential that there had been bad weather. So thank you for the flexibility. We are planning to bring the discussion of the data center moratorium to your meeting on June 29th and start to update you and bring you into the conversation about how that code amendment may progress. And we are working with the district staff right now to figure out what is the best time for us to reschedule the presentation that they were planning on the work that they're doing around school district attendance area boundary amendments. So I understand they're kind of in the middle of two phases right now, and we'll look for an opportunity to present to you either while they're currently wrapping up this phase or as they move into the next phase of that work. We'll keep you updated on that. Looking ahead to a couple of your other meetings, we do have a handful of text amendments that are coming up on your June 29th meeting as well. Tim mentioned working with the school district. Two of these amendments are actually kind of related to items that have been surfacing as we've been thinking about the path forward for some of the schools in our city. And so we'll talk about a couple of items related to vehicular access and the height of non-residential buildings in residential areas on your next meeting agenda. Looking ahead to the meeting in July, I just wanted to flag that there are a couple of bigger projects that will be coming your way. First of all, we will see one of the first phases of the Alliance Center, the Coliseum renovation. So the exhibition hall at the Alliance Center will be on your agenda on July 13th for discussion. We will also see a conditional use application associated with Edgewood on Monroe Street that will be coming before you at that meeting. And we also have a project that was referred from a previous meeting at Roth and Huxley Street. This is a multifamily residential development that was referred from one of your previous meetings that will be coming back before you. So as usual, as you dig into those legislative files, even before the July 13th agenda is posted, if you have any questions for staff, please feel free to reach out to us, and the project managers will be happy to talk you through what we know about those projects and what we expect to be coming at those meetings in the future. I skipped right over recent council actions, but one thing I did want to mention about recent council actions is that on their June 9th meeting, the council approved the reappointments of Commissioners Solheim and Heck for another term. So thank you very much for being willing to continue to serve on the commission and support this work. They also approved the reappointment of School District Rep Chiak as the school district's ex officio member of the commission as well. And tonight is the second to last meeting for Commissioner McCahill, who will be stepping back at the end of June. So wanted to give everyone a heads up. We do expect him to be with us at the June 29th meeting. And afterwards, he will continue his service to the city as a transportation commissioner, but will be stepping back from the Plan Commission. So thank you all, as always, for all of your service. And we will keep you updated as we hear more from the mayor's office about appointments to fill Commissioner McCahill's role, as well as our other alternate position that has been vacant, and when we will do chair and vice chair elections this summer. That's all I have, Chair.
Thanks. Questions or follow-up from the commission? Seeing none, it would be time for a motion to adjourn. And a second. Commissioner Solheim, thank you. Commissioner Heck, thank you. Any objection to unanimous approval for the motion to adjourn? And seeing none, we'll stand adjourned, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you all. Good night.